today we're taking a tour of the Kingsgate neighborhood. It's actually 3 neighborhoods in one. There's 2 in this section and 1 in another. But Ben's going to give us a tour.
Yep, I'm going to take you guys for a little spin around the neighborhood. We've been living here since 2016. With my wife and I, this was where we first moved to after we got married, and we've really enjoyed the neighborhood a lot. It's got a great community feel to it. There's kids running around all the time, playing and having a good time. You see kids on bikes. We have this nice little field here at the front. The kids are always out there playing, or people take their dogs out there and throw the ball. Sometimes people set up those big blow-up movie screens. They'll do a movie night. It's pretty nice. It's got a great community feel to it.
And we got sidewalks throughout, so you don't get run over.
Strangely enough, you'll still get those neighbors that'll walk out in the middle of the street and not use it, which I just pet peeve. Irks me. I don't know. It's what's the new thing on social media? An ick.
What's an ick? So how did you find this neighborhood, Ben?
You know what? So as I told you guys, this is where me and my wife first moved to. We were trying to find a place to live. We were originally looking at rentals because we didn't have much money for a down payment on a house. But my parents are both real estate agents, and so my mom was very passionate about saying, she was begging me. She's like, "Let me find you a house. Let me find you a house." So I was like, "Well, we can only rent." So she found a little house in here, and she talked the owner into doing a lease purchase for us.
Oh, that's awesome.
And so originally he did not have it up for a lease purchase, but he agreed to it just because he liked us. So
that's very cool. So you got real estate in the family. And you're also a builder, so that just goes right along with it.
Right along with it. So now we're rolling into the back part of the neighborhood. It's called the Regency in Kingsgate. It's technically supposed to be a different neighborhood, but it's all part of the same big Kingsgate family. And this is the section that I live in. So you see a transition from a little bit larger homes to a little bit smaller homes. A lot of the homes back here, they just basically look like narrowed down versions of the homes in the front. So they have single car garages, a little bit smaller square footage. Back here, you see a lot more rentals. A lot of rental companies and just investors have used this section of the neighborhood as kind of a rental portfolio. You still have some people that own it, like myself. So you don't get quite as much of the community feel back here because a lot of these are just folks that are going to be here for a year or two. But you still get some great neighbors. Everybody's super nice. It's not loud. I mean, me and my wife, we often leave our cars unlocked in the driveway. It's very safe. That's one of the things that I love about it. There's nothing that we have to worry about back here. We haven't had any major issues. It's just really been a great place to live.
What's around here, like grocery stores, churches, downtown? How close are we to downtown?
I feel like we have a prime spot. We're not so close to downtown that you get the expensive price tag of living close to downtown, but you do get, you are close enough that it's a very, very short drive. It's maybe about 5-10 minutes to get to downtown. There's a lot of different ways that you can get there. You can take 92 to Main Street, or if you want to be a little bit more savvy about getting around traffic, you can take a few other ways to get there. So there's a lot of different routes to get into downtown from this location. And with it being close to the intersection of Trickham and 92, there's a Walmart there, there's a Publix there, there's a Kroger there, there's a Walgreens there, there's just tons and tons of stuff right next to that intersection. So there's a lot of great convenience there. And if you're a Baptist, there's Woodstock Baptist Church that's right next to the neighborhood. And then there's also Woodstock City Church, which is where me and my wife attend. We love it. It's just a short drive from here. And there's so many other amazing churches in the area, just spitting distance from the house, that there's so much to choose from. And up the street is St. Michael's Catholic Church. So Catholics got a church in the area as well. My wife, she comes from a Catholic background, so she likes to go to an occasional mass there. So there's a lot of options, a lot of resources in this area. It's just so much. We talk about moving every now and then, and one of the things that we would regret moving is just all the conveniences of living here.
Yep, it's ultra convenient. You're one red light, literally, from everything.
Everything.
What's one thing you would change about the neighborhood?
That is a tough question. Probably would have, if obviously this is not something that anybody could go back and change, but the streets are very narrow and the driveways aren't very big. That's the only gripe that I have, is that there's just not a lot of available parking. So if you want to entertain and have some people over, once you get more than a couple people to the house, it's kind of a hassle to figure out where is everybody going to park. Streets are narrow, so when people park on the street, it's a lot of weaving back and forth to get around all the cars. That's probably my biggest complaint about the neighborhood. Not really something that you can change about it. Outside of that, I love living here.
There is a pool house with tennis courts and all of that, and there's a pretty big, sizable parking lot there. So, like, you could shuttle people back and forth there if you had to. I'd imagine holidays, that's probably what goes down.
Yes, but we all in the neighborhood kind of just come to understand that is just the plight of living here. Is that the developers, when they made it, they got a variance for the streets to be a little narrow to make it all work. Yep. And in order to get as many houses in here as possible, the driveways and the lots just had to be small. Most of the houses here are on slab, although you do have a few, like right up here on the left, that do have basements because they are on a little bit of slope. So you do get a few of the bigger houses that might have a basement if it's in the right location. But you can see the driveways are very small, and a lot of people, especially on the smaller houses in the back, use the garage as more of a storage container attached to the house rather than a place to park cars. Yep. So you see a lot of cars parked on streets throughout here, because the only real gripe about the houses in here is they just didn't build them with the idea of having a lot of storage space. So that's the only other downside. But if you're not someone who has a bunch of stuff, then these houses are perfectly adequate for any family.
And the last question, what's the school system around here? Like, I used to live here as well, and like the bus stop's literally one stop from the elementary school. What's the elementary, middle, and high school here?
Honestly, I'm not totally sure which schools we feed into for middle school and high school. I do know that we feed into Little River Elementary, and I have several friends who have that age children, and they absolutely adore the school. They say it's an amazing school to go to, and definitely one that when me and my wife start a family, that's one place that we're hoping to send our kids if we got to that point and still lived here.
You're one bus stop away, man. High school is River Ridge, and the middle school, I'm not really sure what that's called, but they're in the same parking lot. So there you go, guys. That was a tour of the Kingsgate neighborhood. If you have any questions about the Kingsgate neighborhood or any other neighborhoods in Woodstock, reach out. My name is Chris Hart. Let's go.